Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Movie Nights video. Normally when I make my favorite movies of the year list, I start off by saying, oh, it's that time of year, but actually, it's almost fucking February, and I'm sorry. Things have just been crazy busy here. Now, before I get started, I am going to give a bit of a disclaimer. The films in this list are only films that, one, that I saw, two, that were available for me to watch in the year 2020. So for example, you're not going to find movies like Nomadland, Minari, One Night in Miami, The Father. There's a couple others that just weren't playing or available to me in the year 2020, and I know that there's a lot of logistics with, the Oscar thing getting pushed to March for it to be qualified, but I just want to stick to movies that came out and I saw in the year 2020. Also, it's kind of bittersweet and sad because normally I watch about 80 movies a year, and this year I saw only about half of that, so I got to just pick my top 15 favorites plus a couple honorable mentions, so we're going to go ahead and start off with my honorable mentions. In no particular order, my honorable mentions for 2020 are Birds of Prey, Borat's subsequent movie film, Freaky, The Way Back, and The Broken Hearts Gallery. It was a very cute movie. With that down and out of the way, let's go ahead and get to my personal top 15 movies of 2020, starting with number 15. Let Him Go sees Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, Superman's parents from Man of Steel, in this sort of modernized Western type of dramatic family thriller. It was a very interesting plot, and there are a couple scenes in this movie that should just be like a masterclass in how to build tension. Really good movie. The King of Staten Island, directed by Judd Apatow, starring Pete Davidson, which is kind of a movie based on his own life. I thought this movie was really sad, really funny. I thought the script was really well written, which I know Pete Davidson, I think, co-wrote. The performances from everyone were great, including Pete Davidson, Marissa Tomei, Bill Burr, and just really the entire cast did a wonderful job. My only real issue with the film is that it kind of, its pacing was a bit off, and it really lulled in the middle of the movie for me. But overall, I thought it was a really well done movie, and it kind of makes me look at Pete Davidson in a different light. Yellow Rose was a small independent film, a really, really low budget independent film that I was fortunate enough to see in theaters. This movie was about an illegal immigrant in the United States who really wants to be a country singer while also trying to avoid being deported. And it seems like a sort of out there kind of concept, but it was actually a very grounded, realistic movie. And it was a really personal movie. And that's what I think I latched onto it. The characters and story was very personal, and you kind of see the journey and you see this person grow throughout the movie. And that's what I really liked about it. His House is a horror movie that came onto Netflix in 2020, and holy shit, it scared the hell out of me. Not only was it a very scary movie, but it was also a very deep, dark, and thought-provoking movie, and I think the horror genre best suits to explore themes like that. This one was also about immigrants. It was immigrants from Africa to England, or the UK, and they're given strict rules to stay in this house in order to obtain their citizenship, but the house that they're in is haunted. And it is a great and really scary movie that I recommend to everyone. Number 11 is Onward, the Pixar film starring Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. I thought this was a really fun adventure thrill ride from Pixar, and I thought that the ending of the film was really well done. It kind of captured, Pixar's tug at the heartstrings. And while, compared to a lot of other Pixar movies, it's not, the best Pixar movie in the world, I still thought that it was fun, emotional, and story-driven enough to deserve a spot on the list, so Onward is number 11. Coming at number 10 is Spike Lee's Defy Bloods. I thought that this film was really unique and interesting in the perspective it brought to the story. It's about a bunch of war veterans who come back together and look for some buried treasure. They all fought together during Vietnam. We also get a performance from the late, great Chadwick Boseman in a supporting role, who did an excellent job. And I really thought that this movie, it was emotional. It had that Spike Lee humor that was also well injected and used. And, seeing sort of the tragic journey that these characters take was really just sad to see. And by the way, Delroy Lindo better get an Oscar nomination because, wow. Coming in at number 9 is Soul, another Pixar movie. I really, really liked this movie. It was funny, it was thought-provoking. Probably it's Pixar's most thought-provoking movie since Inside Out. But one thing that I really liked about this, and it was said better by another critic, but basically you watch the movie and you think that the lesson's going to be one thing, and then it turns around and the lesson is something completely different. And I really thought the movie did a good job of bridging that gap and bringing to you what it was really trying to say from the beginning. Coming in at number 8 is Aaron Sorkin's The Trial of the Chicago 7. I love anything written by Aaron Sorkin, and with Molly's Game that he directed a few years ago, he's proven that he's also a great directing talent, and it shows here as well. This movie is really driven by its amazing cast, including Eddie Redmayne and Sacha Baron Cohen. It brings an interesting look at that time in American history and that whole trial in itself. Frank Langella also does a great job playing just this asshole judge, and the movie does a great job maintaining a sense of style while also not losing any of its substance. I really liked Trial of Chicago 7. Coming in at number 7 is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. This film has Viola Davis, and it also has another performance from the late, great Chadwick Boseman, and wow, he knocks it out of the park in this movie. Probably his best performance that I've ever seen him in, and I've watched a lot of his films. He is just unreal in this movie, and this movie was based on a play, and I get kind of nervous when I see movies that are based on plays, because a lot of the time they just film what would have been the play, and they don't really utilize tools of filmmaking like editing and cinematography to enhance the story and translate it, but I thought this movie translated to film beautifully, and it justified its reasoning in every aspect of it. And it's really emotional. It tonally shifts, but it does so in a way that feels natural, and it is a really depressing ending, but it was the one that fit the story perfectly. So I highly recommend Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Coming in at number 6 is Palm Springs. I fucking loved this movie. It was sort of an interesting take on the Groundhog Day type of thing, except Andy Samberg's character is stuck in a loop at the same wedding over and over, and he ropes somebody into getting stuck with him. It was a really nice twist on the romantic comedy as well. Its humor was well written, its chemistry between the leads was perfect, every performance was great, and I thought that the way that it solved the Groundhog Day problem was also an interesting way of looking at it, and it told you exactly enough about the history of the thing to keep you interested, but it didn't over-explain anything, and it let the story just be the story. And it was a really cute and fun movie, and I loved Palm Springs. Starting in the top 5, number 5 is going to be The Invisible Man. I thoroughly loved this movie. I thought it was the best horror film of the year. I thought Leigh Whannell masterfully directed this movie. I thought Elizabeth Moss' performance was incredibly dark and just, it had a lot of layers and emotions to it. I thought that the movie's sort of subtext in abusive relationships was very poignant, and I thought that it did a good job being its own updated version of a classic story and character, while also at the same time doing a story that was original within itself and combining the two and just creating this amazing, scary action thrill ride, and a low budget one at that. This movie was only made for $7 million, and that blows my mind. Coming in at number 4 is Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman. I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan, and The Gentleman came at the beginning of 2020, and it kind of set a standard for the rest of the year. This movie was just literally Guy Ritchie at his best. Charlie Hunnam was great. Everyone in the movie was great. It had that sense of humor, that sense of style, that sense of action. Matthew McConaughey being Matthew McConaughey, which is always a good thing. And, you know, I highly recommend anyone who wants to get into filmmaking to watch this movie, because not only is it just a great movie, but the whole movie itself is an in-joke about film structure, and that is just one of the funniest in-jokes throughout a film that I've seen, especially last year. So, love The Gentleman. Now, before I get into the top 3, this is one of those situations where you could put these 3 movies in any of the top 3 spots, and I'd feel the same way. This is just the order that I put them in, but these top 3 were my definitive favorite, but, you know, and putting them in an order was insanely hard. So, I did my best. Number 3. Sound of Metal really profoundly moved me to tears multiple times in the movie. It is a heartbreaking story and is a great character study, character piece. Both Olivia Cooke and Riz Ahmed did amazing work in this movie, and I'll be honest, this is the first Riz Ahmed performance that I've really liked. I wasn't a fan of him in Venom, I didn't like him in Rogue One or even Sisters Brothers, but my God, he knocks it out of the park in this movie, and I hope he gets an Oscar nomination for it. You know, just seeing this character's life that was already not in a good place just get progressively worse, and him trying to decide what's more important, his hearing or his mental health, it really, really spoke to me, and it's a movie that I'm going to be revisiting a lot for that reason. And if you have not done so already, please watch The Sound of Metal on Amazon Prime. Promising Young Woman. This movie just fucking ruled. Carey Mulligan owned every scene that she was in. Bo Burnham actually plays a supporting role in this movie, and he did a fantastic job. I'm a sucker for revenge movies. I love revenge movies, and I thought that this movie took the revenge, like, stereotype trope and made it its own. It completely revitalized what that even means. A lot of things are just implied in the movie that you don't see. The things that you do find out, the slow revelations, are heartbreaking, and everything builds upon this story, and it utilizes great small roles for amazing actors. Like Alfred Molina shows up at one point for a little bit and does an excellent job, and the ending of this movie just rips your freaking heart out. But it was such a well-told story, and I just, the whole time I was watching, I was riveted, and when it ended, I didn't want it to be over. I just wanted to go back and watch the movie again. So, loved Promising Young Woman. And yes, number 1, my favorite movie of 2020 was Tenet. I thought that, you know, Christopher Nolan's back. He gave us a movie that was full of action, full of, you know, the twisty, mind-bendy, thought-provoking, difficult-to-follow plot, which I just love. It's his style. And a common criticism of the movie that I personally disagree with is that it was emotionally distant from the characters, and I feel the opposite way. I thought that the movie in its opening scene let you know what kind of person that the protagonist was going to be, and I thought that there was enough character relationships with everyone in the movie to where I felt emotionally connected and emotionally satisfied when the story ended. But not just that, I saw the movie 6 times in theaters, and it's not because I didn't understand it, it's just because I loved it so much that I kept going back to see it again and again. I just thoroughly love the movie, and I think that, you know, in a year where movie theaters have been in trouble and it was just, I didn't get to see nearly as many movies as I did, and the movies I did see, a lot of them were at home, being able to see Tenet on the big screen just put the biggest smile on my face, and I am really happy I got to see it multiple times, and it made my year. I love Tenet. So the sound mix, which everyone kind of knows, but everything else about the movie I loved, and I cannot, obviously I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan, so I can't wait to see what he does next, but it was just so nice to have, in a year of shit, to just have that, and it was really great. So thank you guys so much for watching. What is your top movies of the year list? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read them all and check them out. You know, in 2021, whenever I do my video next year, I don't know if I'm going to be doing movies that went to the same Oscars as 2020, because I feel like it's kind of cheating a little bit, but I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But sorry the video is late. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.